Now, what are the best places in the world currently for an expat to live, both financially and non-financially? Now, of course, like anything, it depends on your interest, your industry, and countless things. But in this video, I'm just going to summarize what tend to be the best places for expats to live. Now, if all things were being equal, if you consider all things in terms of salary, all of those kind of things, you find time and time again that places like Singapore, like Switzerland, come high on expat surveys as great places to live. The negatives are the cost of living is very high, but if expats have a good enough package to live well, most people say they're great places to live as expats because they're very efficient places, high income, often they're getting good schooling for their children, and so on. But let's say, for example, you're not a professional expat in those kind of positions where you're likely to be sent to places like Singapore or Switzerland. Now, in that case, it depends on the industry. So if you're in something like oil and gas, for example, the expat packages tend to be highest in those places, of course, which are, you could call them frontier markets, or in particular hardship markets, right? It's common sense, right? If you're an engineer in Norway or the UK working in oil and gas, you are not going to go to some war-torn country unless you're paid a lot more. However, that also means, though, is that really a good place to live and work? But there's a lot of locations that struggle to get expats, which are perfectly nice places. For example, when I was in Southeast Asia, I was amazed at how nice some parts of that region were. But most people in the West, when they think of some of those countries, they think it must be incredibly dangerous. Even somewhere like Myanmar, for example, because of all the stories you hear online, people are saying it must be a very hard place to live. But if you live in the capital city, it's a good place to live. Now, I would say, though, if you're a retiree, in that case, places like the south of Europe, like France, Spain, Portugal, or somewhere like Thailand, is also a great place to live. If you're a young expat, you're very entrepreneurial, maybe somewhere like a Shanghai or a Shenzhen is the best place for you to live. So it really depends on your interest, what you want to achieve, and so on. And it's all about relative values. In other words, I just said that Burma in the capital city is not a bad place to live. But guess what? If you've come from Tokyo or Singapore or Switzerland, it would be a hard place to live, right? But if you came from war-torn country, you know what? Myanmar would be a very easy place to live, and Cambodia would be an incredibly easy place to live. So it also depends on your expectations, where you've came from in your last expat destination. I've met so many people who have spent 10 years in a hardship location, then they've just gone to an average expat location, and they thought, wow, this is so good. In comparison, I've met other people who have spent 20 years in a place like Singapore or Hong Kong or somewhere like Switzerland, and they've gone to another country and they just can't adapt, even though that country is probably fairly average or even above average. So a lot of this will depend on also your expectations, what you need and require, and also comparison if you're the kind of person who compares to other expat locations. Okay, everyone, have a good day.